Hey, welcome to a special edition of Small Talk with Ferbito, and I'm just going a little baseball preview. And I just want to go through a few things of the season since MLB baseball starts on Thursday. How do I see this season shaping out? And so I brought out my sports boys, because anything sports I want to talk about, I got to bring the experts, right? So I'm going to start off on the West Coast in the NL West. I was going to say NFC in the NL West. And right now, leading the pack, you got the Dodgers, you got the Padres. Finding out which pretty much we all know the front runner is going to be the Dodgers. If you guys watched the Sports Edition show, I did say that my hot take would be Padres actually winning the NL West. That's gonna be hard. Also, teams in that division is gonna be Arizona, and I believe
only way you're gonna win that division is if you get a priest involved, and somebody got seasick on the Dodgers or something like that, or something. So, good luck winning that division.
No, but now I can't say or agree or deny because then I'll be incriminating myself.
Isn't that a $400 million payroll versus a $120 million payroll?
Nah, their payroll is significantly up, and that's an issue that I do have with the Padres.
But compared to the Dodgers, though, it's still a gap. All right, then. So
here's the thing that I have an issue with the Padres fans, and sorry, Padres fans, if you're out there. We just wanted to. I know you guys know that the ownership is battling right now because their father, who recently passed away, the original owner, he's like, before I die, I'm going to make sure this team wins and spend way beyond that team can afford. And he locked himself into a lot of those contracts. So hence the Juan Soto going to the Yankees last year.
They were trying to pay Aaron Judge last year $400 million.
They were trying to do everything, but that was that owner. That was that owner, but then he passed away, and now the kids are like, "No, we don't want to pay this salary.
Just like the Yankees.
We want to make a profit."
Sounds like the Yankees right now.
We're not up to them yet. But at the same time, we got the Padres, and they're dealing out with that. But they still got a high payroll. They still got a lot of good players on that team. From what I'm hearing, they're trying to dump Luis Ariz, and Yankees are a top target for that team. But I personally don't want Luis Ariz because as much as you could possibly get a 400 hitter, you're going to lose defense. Because Ariz sucks at defense for some reason. But he can hit over 350 every year consistently.
Righty? He's a righty?
Lefty. But he has 350. He doesn't give you the pop of the home run, but he sprays that ball all around the field. I get his value in that, but again, keep that shit in San Diego. Moving on.
So if San Diego's trying to unload, how are they going to compete against the Dodgers?
See, but that's the thing. So you don't know, like I was saying, moving on to like the Padres on how are you going to see them this season? If they're going to be in the hunt, if the kids have their way, because I think it's in legal courts right now. If the kids have their way, then the Padres are going to be selling off in trade deadline.
If that's a distraction, Dodgers by far in that division. They're probably going to be like 40 games. Because baseball's how many games? 182?
162.
162 games. They'll probably be 40.
What?
They're probably
62 games, yeah.
A season.
It's a marathon, man.
So I think there'll probably be 40 games in that division.
Who plays 162 games?
Baseball
players?
Yeah. Juan Soto, I give him so much credit. He plays every game. He doesn't want to get taken out. Back in the day, you played every game.
What's this? Baseball games must be played like every other day.
Every day.
Every day.
Holy crap! What?
The series.
You get like 19 days off within the season.
So Thurman.
19.
So explain to him how baseball is a lot easier now than it was back in the days. Back in the days, you played every team like every night, every other night. Now they made it easier where they make it a series. So it's like the Yankees play the Mets. It'd be 3 games. Then they move on to another team.
Oh, that's why they call. Okay.
Then they move on to another team. They play Oakland. Then it'll be like a 4-game series. For a 4-game series.
You're done playing Oakland.
Then you move. Well, no, you play them down the road again. Yeah, because you have to switch. Home away, home away.
Okay.
But back in the days, it used to be like, I play here in Oakland, and then I go and play in San Diego. That was like you was traveling after every game. That's how it was back in the days.
You had series. You had series back then. The series started in the '60s and stuff like that. But to your point, though, it really changed with the whole interleague. Kind of like before, when you started watching baseball, because it was pretty much started in '96. Yeah, in '96 they started doing interleague plays where
That's what I'm saying.
you
The
play
series.
teams from
The National League, American League.
National League and American
Yeah,
League.
that was part of it.
So you start playing those type of teams until now. Recently, like about 7 years ago, now it's a free fall. It's an unbalanced schedule, like in the NFL. Like you can play the NFC, an AFC team can play an NFC. Like in the NBA,
But the rules.
team can play West.
But the rules
But
get
at the
applied.
time, it was like if whatever stadium you're at, you're playing by that league stadium. So if you're in the Mets, if you're the Yankees,
National
and you
League.
go play in the Mets,
National
the
League.
National League
Yeah,
team,
yeah.
you're the
Playing
pitchers back then. But now they got rid of it after the new CBA. It's designated hitter in both leagues now.
Oh, so never mind.
You just now finding that out?
Yeah, I thought it was still like.
Oh man!
I thought it was still you
All right,
playing.
so let me do the explanation.
So
You just give me a opinion.
So I thought National League was still pitching no matter what.
This is old.
Oh, that's kind of whack.
So designated league because again they were trying to protect the pitcher. Remember we had that conversation. So it was all about trying to protect the pitcher. So now, and it started last year where prior to last year, you did hold on, put your hand down. I see you. Prior to last year, you faced a team in your division 18 times. So either you 9 on the road, 9 at home of each of your division. So when they made the schedule, it was those 18 games carved out, 18 series carved out, 18 games carved out throughout the year, and then plug in like series here and there, and they try not to screw you. Like if you're an East Coast team and you're playing on the West Coast, you're gonna stay there for a little bit, then go back to the East Coast or something like that. It's switched up now. That was just a straight free fall. It's whatever it is ever, and they don't do what they had called the unbalanced schedule. So now it's more. You may see now instead of like how it was before, where you may see Oakland in the beginning of the season at Yankee Stadium, but don't play them again until September in Oakland to match up and keep it even. Now you might not see, and this was the thing last year because the Yankees didn't face Baltimore or any AL East teams until May. So they were playing other teams from other divisions and leagues and shit like that. May they started playing their division. That's how they gained up on Baltimore and started winning. And that's how they won their division because they played a lot of their division games late in the season. Where the Mets only had 2 teams that they had to play late in the season that was from their division. What was your question, sir?
Going back to they changed the pitching to designated hitters. So when Ohtani goes back to pitching, he's not batting in that same game.
So the rule is that if the pitcher, because Ohtani still fought for that in his contract. If a pitcher starts the game hitting, when you take out the pitcher, you lose the designated hitter. Your pitcher is your hitter. So you can't change as designated hitter later on to the lineup. So if Ohtani comes in and try to pitch, and it's like, I want to bat.
So he's a starting pitcher.
And he wants to bat.
But he's not going to be in the starting lineup.
He won't be in the starting. If he wants to bat and they put him on the lineup as a batter, he's going to be designated as a pitcher, not a designated hitter.
That's fine. I get
when
that.
they take him out, the next time his spot comes up in the lineup, it's going to be another pitcher, or you got to have to go and get a pitcher. So it goes back to the old school rules.
So then when does the designated hitter come in? Because you said they put designated in both leagues now. So when does that come into play when you say? Because
Ohtani is a unicorn. He's the only player that pitches and hits, right?
I mean, at an elite level. But I'm not talking about
the only player any major league team that has this player is going to allow him to pitch and hit at the same time. Now that you have designated hitters.
All right.
So he's the only unicorn. So they created that rule because of that.
What if I got a pitcher? I mean, maybe he's not as great as batting as Ohtani, but he's decent. You know, he gets. You know, but I can't have him bat because it's not in his
That's
contract.
on you. I
It's
mean,
not his contract.
if you want to bet, put him as because you have that much confidence. That's on you. That's all on the manager.
So there is no rule. I mean,
There is a rule, but the rule is if you don't use your designated hitter in the beginning of the game, you don't use a designated hitter. Your pitcher will be your batter.
all right. I see. They kind of like. I'm used to this when, like, for example, like especially when you get to the World Series, and then you have the American League versus the National League. Let's say it's Yankees and Mets, and then the Yankees have to go to Shea Stadium. Their pitcher have to bat, no matter what. There were at the time when I was watching baseball, there was no designated hitter on the National League building. Period. So that's new for me.
And I'll play about 4 years now.
Yeah, because I remember.
But baseball's been out for over 100. So that's so you're saying 4 is still new.
I remember going to a Mets game and seeing that designated.
That is the rule. The National League, the American League was designated hitters, and the National League was always pitchers batting. But I guess now
And
you're
the
saying the
reason why
last
they
4
had
years,
the designated hitter in the first place was because in the 70s,
the pitchers always batted last
American
anyway.
League couldn't muster any type of offense at all.
They still don't, and they still don't. So that's what kind of makes no sense. National League is not known for seeing. I don't know if this is me, but I've never seen a National League game with score ended like 14-12. It's always been like 2-1, 1-0, 3-2, maybe 5.
You don't see those games no more.
5-3 in the National League. In the National League, American League has always been the one that's always been, 9-5.
Well, that's because
10,
of the
11.
addition of the designated hitter. And that's the reason why, because back before, the American League, you were barely getting 0-1 games. 1-0 games.
And the National League getting a lot of those.
And nationally, nationally had all the boppers back in the day. You had the lean hitting machines of Cincinnati Reds. You had the Mets, those teams back then. You had the Braves. You had so many good hitting teams on it that the commissioner decided, hey, you guys are not doing any offense. It's like hand checking. Let's get rid of hand checking in the NBA, right? So you want to boost offense?
I'm down with modifying the rules, but I just didn't see that it helped a lot with the National League. Maybe you probably. I'd like to give us an example, but I haven't seen that kind of like.
Well, I think offense
jump.
is down. Period. I think since they found out that the balls were juice about 2-3 years ago, and the players were complaining about it.
Wasn't that something to do with the new stitching, the way it was coming
the way
off?
they stitched it, like the balls were getting more.
Then I seen one where the ball exploded. I forgot who hit it, and the ball exploded.
Something like that.
And then you see the stitching, or that's when you'll see
came out,
everything. Yeah,
but like they were saying that the balls were juicing, but the Major League Baseball never admitted that it was. So ever since then, since those reports started coming out, the players started complaining about it. The pitchers, because pitchers are divas and they're weird because they're getting their shit smacked. So they're complaining about it. So MLB was like, oh, let's low key take out the juice out of it, make it a real standard baseball. And now the ball doesn't fly as much. Before the ball used to go over the gate. Now it's just dying at the warning track. The win, most of these stadiums, and I swear to, I wish baseball would get more modern and have every team forced to have a dome.
Dome all the buildings. I'm down with that.
Have every team. There's no reason in 2025 that we have rain delays. We have fucking rainouts. We have the rearranged scheduling.
I agree.
People like a family.
I don't understand it. It's like why we stopping the game because of rain? Can't you just shut it down?
Because
what are we doing here?
Because I get it, but at the same time, as baseball, it is played outside. So
that's true, but
if you want to keep it like 100 years, I'm surprised. I'm surprised you're saying that because you've been somebody more really of a traditionalist.
I am a traditionalist.
So I'm surprised you're saying that.
Again, the rainouts and I'm also thinking of it this way. You got to think of like the guy who picks that one time that he has available to go to a baseball game for his family for. Wasted all that money and then just happens to come in on the day that it's raining, but they give them a promise. Hey, yeah, it's
Tomorrow.
raining, but we might get
Come
the
back
game
tomorrow.
in. We might get the game in.
This is the only time.
But this might be his only time to get this game in, that he can actually do the game. But no, so he's hoping because it's a rain delay right now. So the kids are hungry. Oh, I gotta go buy a $20 hot dog and shit like that. Oh, I'm thirsty. I want to get a beer. Let me go get a $40 beer.
Again, I get it.
And then he's sitting there, and then they wait 2 hours, and then the game is raining out.
I'm just surprised somebody like you who's very traditional.
They refund the cost, which I'm for it. Refund. They also give people vouchers who spend money in the snack shop.
You don't get that. You don't get that.
Especially Yankees do that.
You don't get that feeling of a day game, and you want the dome closed, right?
Well, if we've gone so far in these domes that you could do it retractable.
That's a lot of money. And I mean, it's not easy putting that in every. I get it.
But how much money would you save
by not doing rainouts and rescheduling and refunding people and then
Well, the games will get rescheduled at a later date. So if they can't play that day,
hire those employees back again because people are, if I'm not mistaken, once the season's over, they leave, right? They're hiring back, so now you gotta hire them for an extra day. They gotta stay longer, and the game hasn't played.
And they do a doubleheader too.
Right. So
out of all the sports,
in some ways,
they do doubleheaders for that reason.
But an argument, not all teams, and rarely that you see a team now do one price for a doubleheader. Usually,
I don't know about
that. The doubleheader. The first game,
isn't that ticket?
First hour, everybody's got to get out the stadium. They got to clean that stadium. Boom, bring it in the next game.
Isn't it that? Yeah. Well, the game is not really back to back, right? But is a doubleheader meaning that they play one game and then they come back out 2 hours later?
Roughly, yeah.
But yeah, isn't it that the ticket, if you got a rain out, them same people that paid, they get
for one game. Not all teams do the split gate anymore, especially since they're.
So if let's say if I got a ticket for tonight, it rains. So now they reschedule it for a doubleheader, which is going to be the second game on Saturday. So shouldn't that ticket be now my Saturday game ticket game now?
Unless you bought another ticket for that morning game. I mean the early afternoon game, because you can use that ticket for either the afternoon game or you can use it for the night. You can't use it for both.
I'm not saying for both. I didn't say both. I said, listen, this is me again. So my Friday night game got canceled tonight, right?
Okay.
Rained out. So now it got rescheduled to let's say, for example, the second game. Okay. So that's my question. Shouldn't just take, because we're saying, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you said no after. I was like, why not?
No, I'm telling you that about the fact that they don't do the split game.
No, that's what I said specifically.
I mean, they do split game.
Well, that's what I said specifically. If my game got rescheduled as the second game, that's why I say Saturday. Well, let's say Saturday, but I said the second game. That ticket should be good for that second game. Because that's the
second game already be booked.
No, because it's a doubleheader. So it was supposed to be one game on Saturday, right. But now it's going to be a doubleheader because a game like, for example, tonight got canceled. That's how baseball do. It's the only sport that does that. That they have a doubleheader. They don't have it. They don't have doubleheaders every a game. They don't schedule doubleheaders. Only time a doubleheader gets scheduled if the game got canceled.
Because in me, I'm hearing doubleheader, and I'm usually like, I'm thinking like TNT doubleheader.
Now, Thurman, I could think that the only time
that's happened once.
Thurman, I think the only time the ticket works once is if there was a rain delay in the middle of a game, and then they pick up where they left off. For example, me and you sitting in Yankee Stadium tonight. It's the 6th inning, 6-5. It starts to rain. So now they cancel the game, 6-5, whatever.
Game is done.
Well, there's a rule because there's a rule for that because they do. Okay,
they called the game.
That's fine. That's fine. So okay, fine. But my point. That's not my point. My point is that they do pick up the game, right? The game. So let's say the next game is Saturday or a month from now that we play. The same team plays again. What they do is, okay, we pick up where we left off from that rain delay before we play the next game. They do that.
Only if it's tied.
That's not my point. My point is that do they do that?
Only if it's tied.
That's fine. You can add the rules. My point is that they do that. That to me is when the ticket only works. Like I could see both games. Technically, I'm coming in for 1.5 because you're playing. You playing that game you played a month ago that got canceled. Only in baseball they do this.
the game that you left off at. And
Yeah, because they do that. They'll be like, oh, run on second, run on first, but the rain stopped the game. So when they resume that game a month from now, they be like, oh no, you was on second, you was on first. That's the pitcher you had on the mound, and that's the guy. That's what they do. Then they finish that game. Then they go to their scheduled game. So that's why I said that.
So when you buy a doubleheader ticket, you're buying basically.
But I mean, it's not really a doubleheader. Yeah, it's one.
You're buying 2 tickets.
Even if the game is it's not really a doubleheader. It's
one ticket that you lost out on because of the rain as a voucher for your ticket. They still have to honor it.
Okay.
But if they're not sold out, you can't honor it.
That's what I'm saying. I want to say how because it's you're not because the doubleheader is a difference between you picking up a game in the middle, because that's not a doubleheader now. That's just you picking up a resumed game from a month ago, and then once that finish wraps it up, you guys jump into the next game. I don't think they clear the building for that.
About picking up games, so Major League Baseball tries to avoid this at all costs. That's why that rule, which is almost 100 years old rule, the official game is 5.5. After 5.5, team on the rain. If let's say Yankees and the Mets are playing, and let's say if it's tied, it goes into the 6th. God bursts out the clouds. They send everybody home. They put the tarp. They say, "Look, the game's not gonna happen." So either they pick it up the next day or pick it up the next time that they meet.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So
because there's no
that comes is because the game was tied. There's no resolution. There's no baseball cannot end in the tie.
I was about to ask you that. There is no draw in baseball, right?
Baseball can never end in the tie.
All right.
The only time that it can end in tie is during spring training and All-Star games. That's the only time. Any other time cannot go in 2 extra innings.
It happened once, right?
It's happened where I remember waking up one day and there was a game still on from last night.
Oh, but that was a season game. They went like 22 innings.
They went like 23, 22 innings. And they
ended at 3:00 in the morning.
It was. That
was a base. But I want to say about the All-Star game, I remember is what I'm saying. Not too long ago, they stopped. It was like 9-9, something like that, and they went to like the 10th, 11th inning. It was like, okay, no more. We was like, what? We ain't gonna get a winner, and we didn't get a winner because it was like we're not going that deep. It's not that type of game. But you gotta
also remember, I mean, these exhibition games, you don't want to get the product hurt.
But they still take it. But they still take it serious, though. That's what I like about it. But that's the reason why. But because of that is why they take it serious. Is probably why they don't go all the extra innings like that.
Yo, peace and blessings. Thank you for watching Up and Level. This is your boy Ferbito. If you like this show, you like the sports edition, like, comment, subscribe, get involved. Peace.